confirmation of today's result. Biniam Girmay takes it ahead of Gaviria, De Lee, Pedersen, Groenewegen, Bauhaus, Jacobsen, Ballerini, Bennett and Kokar. I think it's fair to say the favourites got bitten today, possibly by the terrain, but definitely by Biniam Girmay, our day's winner.
Our first sprint at this year's Tour de France and a first Tour victory for Biniam Girmay. A first Eritrean win as well at the biggest bike race of them all. We had been questioning whether or not we would see history made today. In slightly different form, Robbie, history it was indeed.
Certainly historic for Biniam Girmay, his team, Intermarché, and for Eritrea. I just can't wait to see all their fans around the bus and around the front of the podium of Biniam Girmay, because that is always such a celebration when their riders do well. So that's going to be phenomenal. But the ride that he did, I mean, he was there ready to pounce if he was given the opportunity, but then he was strong enough. And the way it opened up for him up the right-hand side, I mean, you've got to have a little bit of everything. He had the fortune that he was on the right side for it to open up, but then he had the legs to go through it and hold everybody off. That was some sprint.
He was lead out. Tyson was at the back of that group, and he was just put himself in the right place for his sprinter, but he just found himself in the perfect place. There's Tyson, second wheel now, but I think this is with around 500 metres to go, not even.
600.
Yeah. Well, there's Binny. He's back in 10th, 11th wheel.
Yeah, Binny already a long, long way back, so maybe he was the chosen sprinter today, but the way Tyson's sitting up there doesn't look like it, but he just got the perfect run at it. I think that crash must have caused a lot of problems in terms of where to place yourself, but just taking full advantage of the situation. You've got to take your hat off to Pedersen. He came from a long way back, but for me, it's a messy sprint. There's that lead out there wasn't really one. It was just everyone coming together at the final moment.
There's so much to unpick from the final few kilometres of all of this, and we will be watching that sprint again in just a moment. Dylan Groenewegen very unhappy with Arnaud De Lee's sprinting. But another French victory of sorts. Robbie, talk me through this before I go on to that.
Well, you see Pedersen goes out on the left. That opens things up on the right, and he doesn't get back to the barriers, and that allows Girmay to come on the less windy side. There was a slight crosswind from left. Groenewegen trying to just range up on that right-hand side next to De Lee, who just pops himself into the gap. He didn't do anything really wrong, but it is annoying to get shut down like that, and a wave of the arm from Groenewegen. And Gaviria, for once, didn't hit out from 500 metres to go and went really close to getting a stage win. But this was one old messy sprint. Pedersen brought from a long way behind by Jasper Stuyven, and in the end it seemed to be just that effort just too much, and he tied up at the end. But it's nothing. You can't take a thing away from Biniam Girmay. I'd love to hear from them eventually what their actual plan was, because Koda and Tassen ended up sitting down, faded way outside the top 15. But Girmay, if they were trying to lead him out, he was nowhere near his teammates. But in the end, it was perfect because he just got that big.
Who cares now?
What's the problem? I mean, they should probably just go, no, that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
I tell you what, that body lean by Dylan Groenewegen, I have no idea how professional riders manage to stay upright in that kind of position, but they've got to, and they've got to fight for position, Danny, don't they?
Yeah, of course they do, and that's the beauty of sprinting and what makes them so good, to find these gaps that for a lot of us we wouldn't even be able to see, let alone find, when they're riding at 60, 70 kilometres an hour. For Groenewegen, he was trying to move on the right-hand side following Biniam Girmay there, but De Lee I don't think he altered his line much. He came off the back.
He went from left
he went slightly to the right, but the thing was that Mads Pedersen was fading right in front of him. Groenewegen wanted to come up on the right, but De Lee was going to run into the back of Mads Pedersen, so he just has to try and go around him. The thing was, there was only room for one set of handlebars in there.
De Lee in that sprint, we'll run through it shortly, but De Lee, when he started his sprint, he went on Pedersen's wheel, he went left. He should have gone right around the lead-out, man. If he did that, he'd have had clear space, blocked Girmay, but it's so easy for us to say right now.
Exactly.
Split-second decisions, and when you watch it in slow-mo, you go, oh, well, he should have done that. But when you're there at 190 heart rate and got to make a call one way or the other, you follow the guy who goes and end up getting sort of the wrong side of his wheel. He fades, someone else slides on through, and you go, well, OK, the other one was right.
You've got to understand the frustration as well, though. I think a lot of riders may end up rueing today. No Jasper Philipsen, no Mathieu van der Poel doing the lead-out for Philipsen, no Mark Cavendish. That was a really good opportunity to take what will be very few stage chances for the sprinters.